So I've been thinking about doing this video for a little while now, but really felt led to do this. I've been noticing a lot of people who are watching the signs and about the end of the age and the coming of Jesus, and so I'm here to tell you that I'm watching the signs, and I believe Jesus is not coming soon, and here are my signs that I see that show that he's not coming soon. Now, I know what you're thinking. No man knows the day or the hour. That's true. That's true. And I'm not giving a specific date of when he will come. I'm just saying that based on the signs, he's not coming soon. Um, so hear me out, and I don't want any mockers and scoffers on this channel. Okay? No mocking and scoffing me for, putting the date out there further than soon. Okay? I don't want to hear any mocking, because I'll find a Bible verse that shows that you are wrong, sir or ma'am, for mocking me and for trying to show me scripture to prove me wrong. Okay? I don't want any of that. I'm not going to allow that. Not on my channel, man. So, all right. So here we go. I'm going to give you the signs Jesus is not coming soon. Ready? Sign number one. Now, this is going to blow your minds because we're actually going to look at the Bible here for some of this. So, I mean, you mockers and scoffers, if you're going to come and mock me, then you need to come and mock me with scripture, okay? If we are experiencing the quote-unquote birth pains that Jesus referred to in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, well, if those are the birth pains that we're in, then we're at the beginning of them, and that means his coming is not nigh. Now, how dare I say this? Well, I didn't say it. Jesus did. Matthew 24:8, he mentions a lot of signs of the end of the age and his coming and the coming kingdom. And he says, these are all the beginning of sorrows. Now, the sorrows part there is birth pains. And what's interesting is I never hear any of these preachers that talk about the end and the birth pains. They always leave off the word beginning. Wonder why they say that. I mean, he says it's the beginning of birth pains, not the end of them, not the middle of them, not like just before the birth pains, but the beginning of birth pains. Braxton Hicks' birth pains, they begin around the 20th week of pregnancy. That's like just over halfway through. So there's a long way to go. So if we are at the beginning of those sorrows, like all of you swear up and down we are because you see a hurricane or an earthquake, well, then we have a long way to go. And that's backed up by Jesus himself in Luke 21:9, where he says, when you hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. That is, the end is not near when you see these things. Second sign, Damascus is far from being a ruinous heap. And this is one that these guys have been playing with for a long time. I'm just going to show you some video here from December of 2018, notice. So relatively recent. And this is Damascus. This is a guy that went on was doing a travel video series on where he's been. I mean, even Jan Markell in a recent video or speech specifically stated that, people are going out to the restaurants and the nightlife in Damascus now, but oh, watch out. It's going to hit them suddenly and they're going to be destroyed overnight. Yeah, I know, but people like J.D. Farag and others keep saying that Damascus is slowly, I guess really slowly, getting more and more bombed out, and so therefore, we can see the end approaching. Well, I don't see it, man, because look at this place. It's nowhere close to being a ruinous heap. And this is just very recently. Nobody would be even vacationing there if it was on the verge. So that's my second sign. Third sign, we are further away from a one world government than ever before. Now, I'm only using your signs that you guys talk about because I don't believe there ever will be a one world government of human making ever, period. Jesus put down all of the empires when he came and destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD. And notice I said he came and destroyed Jerusalem. That was the beginning of the end of the Roman Empire, and that's the last empire we've ever seen. So we're further away from that, and Jesus is never going to allow another one world empire ever again. But we're further away from that than ever before. Right now, there are 193 recognized countries in the world. There are two others that Christians typically don't recognize. One is Palestine and one is the Vatican. So I'm taking those out. There's 193 separate national governments today. Again, let me make the point here. This is more than ever in human history, guys. So if we were moving towards one world government, don't you think there would be fewer governments than ever before? And that doesn't even count the thousands of state and local governments. I mean, like in the United States, we have one national government, 50 separate state governments who often don't even get along with the federal government, and then thousands of local and city governments under those who often don't get along with the states or the federal. So you guys just try to get the nation of the USA under one particular government. We and the recent government shutdown should show you we ain't nowhere close to that. What evidence does anyone have to the contrary? Can I ask that question? What evidence do you have? I've got evidence that it's nowhere close. Do you have evidence that it's anywhere close? We're not even close to having the technology for the mark of the beast. I don't want to get all wonky here, but I'm an internet guy. I've been working with the internet since the mid '90s, so I've seen it come and grow. And I work with clients who utilize big data, AI, all these scary technologies. I make a living from it. Trust me, guys, the internet is not even close to being ready to track every single person on Earth and all their purchases. All right. And so you don't have to trust me. You don't know me, whatever. Check it out for yourself. We have internet outages all the time. I mean, we have data that's not secure all the time. And I just pointed out that 193 separate governments don't even like each other, or they certainly don't depend on each other for like, here's how I'm going to do this. You do it the same way. They're not talking that way. They're running their own countries. So, but here's one that's just a fact. There's two facts here that just blow away any notion that we're anywhere close. An estimated 1.1 billion people do not even have electricity. They don't have it at all. Okay, do you understand the implications of that? You don't have electricity. You don't have any of this stuff you guys are talking about. And more than half of the world's population doesn't even have access to the internet yet. We are nowhere close to having the technology that will tie every single person on the planet together into a database and then track every single movement they make and every purchase from a piece of gum to a house. And let me just point out also while I'm at it, the book of Revelation, since you guys like scripture so much, the book of Revelation shows that during this supposed reign of the mark of the beast, okay. So Revelation 15, for example, let's see. Let's go to 14. Maybe it's 14. I'm doing this off the top of my head. There's smoke coming. Okay, there's judgments coming down from God. Okay, during the supposed reign of the Antichrist that came in Revelation 13. And like this, he gathers the vine of the earth, and the winepress is trodden, and there's so much blood that the horses' bridles are, it's up to the horses' bridles. That whole thing. I thought it was 15, maybe it's 16. Okay, yeah, here. The second angel pours out his vial upon the sea. Keep in mind, this is supposedly when the Antichrist is running the whole world with his internet connected to everybody. And angels are pouring vials on rivers, and they're becoming blood. You don't even have water to drink, you guys. Again, you guys don't make any sense. So first of all, you're not biblical to start with. This entire fantasy isn't even biblical. But forget that. It doesn't even make any logical sense. You can't have an internet connected world where every pack of gum that people buy is tracked for. By the way, God knows why they would need to do that to run the world. You don't need to track every purchase to run the world, but whatever. You can't even drink water. How are people caring about a pack of gum or shopping on the internet? Here's my final sign, or maybe my second to final sign. I see another one in here. Yeah. Unbelieving Jews have not yet begun persecuting Christians. And you're like, I'm sure a lot of you are like, what? Yeah, that's because you guys don't read any other scriptures except for the ones your mentors give you. I don't mean to be harsh and mean, but that's what this means. If you don't understand what I'm saying here, then you're not actually reading any of the Bible that you're given to read. Go to Luke 21. Here, let's pull it up. Let me go to Luke 21 here. And what I'm talking about, it says, they say, Master, when shall these things be, and what sign will there be when these things come to pass? Everybody would agree that they're talking about the end of the world, Jesus coming, the temple destruction. He says, take heed and be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. Go ye not therefore after them. When ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. Nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, great earthquakes, famines, pestilence, signs from heaven. These are all things that pre-tribbers talk about all day long that are happening right now before our very eyes, they say. Look what it says in verse 12. Before all these things that I just mentioned, before all these. So if right now we're seeing the beginning of sorrows, as I mentioned in my first sign, this was supposed to happen before all those sorrows. And I had never heard one single person, from Jan Markell to J.D. Farag to Amir Safari to the thousands and thousands of self-proclaimed watchmen, never have I heard anyone saying, well, yeah, back in the 80s and 70s and 60s, Jews were really persecuting Christians a lot and bringing them before the synagogues and delivering them up for Jesus' sake. When did that ever happen, you guys? Is it happening now? You know when it did happen, by the way? In the first century. That's when this happened. Because that's what the entire subject is about. But whatever, that just shows you that this hasn't happened yet. We ain't anywhere close. And finally, okay, we're not even close to a one world religion, which actually doesn't even exist anywhere in Revelation either. It just says he's going to force people to worship the beast. That's not the same thing as having a religion. We all worship things that we shouldn't worship. We go to church every Sunday and worship God, and we call ourselves Christians, and then we frankly go out in the middle of the week and worship something else. It's very common. You don't have to join a religion to worship something. But in fact, we wouldn't have all these worldly, satanically influenced, as you guys think. We wouldn't have these people talking about getting along. They wouldn't be saying, let's get along. They'd be saying, you need to join my religion. No, 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 you need to join my religion. No, 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 you need to join my religion. We don't have a single world religious leader saying that. I mean, to the whole world. In fact, they're saying, you know what? Keep your religion. Let's just all get along. All right, so those are my signs. I don't think we're anywhere close, guys. But okay, I'm inviting all the mocking and scoffing to start. Let's go. Let's bring it on. But if you're going to mock and you're going to scoff, I want scripture. Thanks.